To look like there's a group of black women that has attacked Caitlin Clark and her fan base online.
The WNBA is at war with itself, and its biggest star is caught in the crossfire. A group of commentators just went live on a stream and launched one of the most shocking attacks on Caitlin Clark we've seen all year. They didn't hold back, and what they said reveals a dark, self-destructive problem simmering just beneath the surface of the league. Are people finally crossing the line, or is this the ugly truth about professional sports?
I totally agree with that, and I also think that I think that some of the new fans got a rude awakening when they did come to the W, because what happened was their fave was not the best. And so that was their issue. Like, I get that she was the rookie of the year. I understand that. But you're also battling and competing with people like Natasha Collier, with people like your own teammate Kelsey Mitchell, with other people who, like we've all said, have been here for a while, like the Breanna Stewarts, who have been here. So I'm confused as to why, like Diane Taurasi said, this is a grown woman's game, baby. So, but we're gonna change the subject.
On a streaming show called Playback, a panel discussion took a sharp turn, and the target was clear: Caitlin Clark and her entire fan base. This wasn't professional analysis, it was a personal takedown. One panelist claimed that Caitlin's fans got a rude awakening when she didn't immediately dominate the league, conveniently ignoring that she still won Rookie of the Year while competing against legends like Aja Wilson and Breanna Stewart. The message was simple: Caitlin Clark isn't as good as you think she is, and her fans are delusional.
You have no emotion. You have 131 followers, and you're speaking on C's.
But then, they dropped the line that sent social media into a frenzy, quoting Diana Taurasi. One panelist sneered, "This is a grown woman's game." The condescension was dripping from every word. The implication was that Caitlin, the college superstar, is just a kid who can't hang in the big leagues. It was a calculated shot meant to diminish her, to put her and the millions of fans she brought to the sport squarely in their place.
I think a lot of these old guard WNBA media reporters, old guard WNBA fans is happy as hell. I truly think they happy. The fandom is over. The hype is over. Caitlyn stuff is over. They can go back to normal. Being in a...
And here's where it gets truly bizarre. After launching this tirade, they immediately tried to change the subject, almost as if they knew they just lit a match next to a gas can. But it was too late. The clip went viral and the backlash was instant and brutal. Fans pointed out the insane hypocrisy. These same critics were silent when the WNBA was struggling for attention. But now that Caitlin Clark has single-handedly brought in millions of new viewers, they're suddenly angry. She's the one in the spotlight.
I said what I said. You said what you said, huh?
Let's be clear about the stakes here. The WNBA just had its most profitable and viewed season in history, almost entirely because of the Caitlin Clark effect. Attendance, TV ratings, and merchandise sales shattered records. She is the rising tide lifting all boats. But instead of gratitude, there's a bizarre resentment from an old guard that seems furious about this newfound popularity. They don't like that the narrative has shifted, so they take every chance they get to tear her down. Now, we have to address the uncomfortable truth lurking behind all this. Caitlin Clark is a white player in a predominantly black league, and some people have a serious problem with her being the face of the WNBA. They argue, with some validity, that black players who are just as or even more talented don't get the same media coverage or corporate sponsorships. That is a real systemic issue that absolutely needs to be fixed. But attacking Caitlin Clark personally is not the solution. It's a catastrophic misfire. Tearing her down doesn't elevate other players. It just makes the entire league look petty and dysfunctional. If you want more recognition for black stars, the answer is to promote them, create compelling content around them, and celebrate their greatness. Not to waste energy trying to convince the world that one of the most exciting rookies in history isn't actually good. What this controversy truly exposed is a wild mindset among some longtime fans. They seem happy, that the offseason is here and the Caitlin Clark hype is dying down. You can see them celebrating that social media engagement is dropping, as if they want things to go back to normal. They would rather have a small niche league for themselves than deal with millions of new casual fans who came for Caitlyn. This mindset isn't just strange, it's financially insane. The WNBA has spent decades fighting for survival, begging for sponsors, and watching its players leave for higher pay overseas. Caitlin Clark offered a golden ticket to mainstream relevance, and instead of cashing it in, some are actively rooting for it to fail. A return to a niche product means a return to low salaries, poor conditions, and a league perpetually on the brink. Let's dismantle their Rookie of the Year argument right now, because it's nonsense. They admit she won the award, but try to downplay it by saying she had to compete against veterans. Well, yeah, that's how pro sports work. Excelling against established stars makes the award more impressive, not less. She averaged over 19 points and 8 assists, led the entire league in assists, and turned one of the worst teams into a playoff contender. These are undeniable facts, not fan delusions. What we're witnessing is a deliberate attempt to rewrite history. Now that the season is over, a new narrative is being pushed. She wasn't that good. Her fans are annoying. She only got attention because of her race. This is revisionism, designed to undercut the most impactful rookie season the league has ever seen, and it's coming from inside the house. Ultimately, the WNBA's biggest enemy is itself. Just when it has a generational talent bringing unprecedented success, a faction within its own ecosystem, from players to media, seems determined to sabotage it. They are tired of the new fans, tired of the attention on one player, and tired of the change she represents. They just want to watch good basketball, but their actions are ensuring fewer people will be watching at all. This could have been a turning point, a moment where the league capitalized on its momentum to build a sustainable, profitable future. Instead, we're stuck in the same cycle of infighting and self-destruction that has held the WNBA back for years. So I have to ask you, are these commentators just bitter haters trying to tear down a star, or do they have a point about a system that's failing its other players? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the world of sports. But it goes even deeper than that. Beyond just a few bitter commentators on a live stream, this isn't just a controversy, it's a battle for the very soul and identity of the WNBA. What we're seeing is a phenomenon known as gatekeeping, and it's one of the most toxic forces in any fandom. The old guard, who stood by the league through its leanest years, developed a sense of ownership over it. They see the WNBA not just as a sports league, but as a cultural institution they protected. Now, millions of so-called bandwagon fans have arrived, drawn in by a single player, and these longtime supporters feel like their sacred space is being invaded by outsiders who don't get it. They resent the newcomers for not having paid their dues, for not watching when Aja Wilson was winning championships, or when Sylvia Fowles was dominating the paint. Their frustration is misplaced, but it's potent, and it's poisoning the well for everyone. This exact dynamic has played out before in professional sports, and the historical precedent makes the WNBA's current civil war look even more self-defeating. Think about the NBA in the late 1970s. It was a league struggling with a public image problem, low ratings, and was widely seen as a predominantly black league that white audiences were hesitant to embrace. Then, two players arrived, a charismatic black superstar from Michigan State named Magic Johnson, and a quiet, sharpshooting white kid from a small town in Indiana named Larry Bird. Bird, much like Clark, brought in a massive new demographic of fans. Did some existing players and fans resent the immediate attention he received? Absolutely. But the league, and crucially his rival Magic Johnson, understood that their rivalry and the new attention were the keys to unlocking a golden era for the entire sport. They leaned into it, marketed it, and the NBA exploded into the global powerhouse it is today. They chose growth over gatekeeping. The WNBA is facing its Bird's magic moment, and a significant faction is actively choosing to reject it. Let's try for a moment to step into the shoes of a veteran WNBA player. For a decade, you've been grinding. You've played year-round, going overseas in the off-season just to make a living. You've flown commercial, crammed into middle seats after grueling games. You've fought for every column inch of media coverage, every sponsorship dollar, and every fan in the stands. You have seen incredibly talented teammates and opponents, MVPs and champions, get virtually no national recognition. Then, a 22-year-old rookie arrives, and before she has even played a single professional game, she has a signature shoe deal with Nike. Her face is on every ESPN broadcast, and the league is bending over backwards to accommodate the unprecedented attention she brings. It would be almost impossible not asterisk to feel a sense of frustration or jealousy. The anger isn't necessarily about Caitlin Clark the person, it's about what she represents, a system that they feel has ignored them for years and is now showering a newcomer with the very validation they fought so hard for. This perspective doesn't excuse the takedowns or the on-court hostility, but it does explain the immense psychological pressure cooker the league has become. This internal conflict has real-world tangible consequences that go far beyond hurt feelings and viral clips. The most glaring example is the charter flight debate. For years, players have argued for charter flights as a basic necessity for health, safety, and performance. The league always claimed it was financially impossible. The Caitlin Clark effect suddenly made it possible, with the Indiana Fever drawing sellout crowds on the road and generating massive revenue. But instead of this being a universal victory, it ignited a firestorm of controversy. Other teams complained it created a competitive imbalance, leading to a bizarre situation where a team owner offered to fund charter flights for the Asterix entire league Asterix, and the WNBA initially rejected the offer due to logistical and fairness concerns. Think about how insane that is. The league got the solution it always wanted, handed to it on a silver platter because of its new star, and its first instinct was to say no because of internal politics and resentment. This is the self-sabotage in action, where the fear of one player getting an advantage trumps the collective good of all players. We also have to scrutinize the role of the wider sports media in this fiasco, because they are far from innocent bystanders. While fringe commentators on Asterisk, Playback Asterisk are easy to criticize, mainstream outlets like ESPN are just as culpable in creating this toxic environment. Their coverage has been overwhelmingly centered on Clark, often at the expense of other compelling storylines. When the Las Vegas Aces were on their way to a second consecutive championship, the lead story was often still about a non-playoff team in the Indiana Fever. This obsessive focus creates a feedback loop. The media focuses on Clark because she gets ratings, which makes fans and other players feel like she's the only one who matters, which fuels resentment, which then creates conflict, which the media then covers because conflict gets ratings. It's a vicious cycle where nuanced discussion is impossible. If the media truly wanted to support the league, they would use the interest in Clark as a jumping off point to introduce new fans to other stars, not just hyperfixate on one individual until the rest of the league despises her and the attention she receives. The fundamental flaw in the anti-Clark argument is the belief that attention is a zero-sum game. The critics operate under the assumption that a spotlight shining on Caitlin Clark is a spotlight that has been stolen from someone else. This is a scarcity mindset, born from decades of the WNBA having to fight for scraps. But that's not how growth works. A rising tide really does lift all boats. When a casual fan tunes in to watch Caitlin Clark play the New York Liberty, they don't just see Clark. They see Brianna Stewart hitting a turnaround jumper. They see Sabrina Ionesco pulling up from the logo. They see Jonquil Jones dominating the boards. Clark is the gateway. She is the reason millions of people are in the building or watching on TV in the first place, giving other incredible athletes the platform to showcase their own greatness. Attacking the gateway doesn't magically divert those fans to other players. It just convinces them to turn the TV off and find something else to watch, leaving everyone back in the dark. Furthermore, we are living in the age of the algorithm, and this entire conflict is being amplified and distorted by social media platforms that are designed to reward outrage. The panelists who attacked Clark knew exactly what they were doing. They knew a clip of them sneering about a grown woman's game would be clipped, shared, and debated endlessly on X, TikTok, and Instagram. They weren't just offering analysis, they were rage baiting for engagement. Every angry comment, every defensive reply, and every share pushes their content to a wider audience and increases their own relevance. This cynical manipulation of the discourse makes it impossible to have a good faith conversation. The system incentivizes the most extreme, divisive takes, while thoughtful, balanced perspectives get buried. The league's biggest stars and its most prominent issues are being reduced to fodder for the online content mills, and it's tearing the community apart from the inside. The long-term damage of this infighting could be catastrophic. The WNBA has a golden opportunity, a once-in-a-generation chance to cement itself as a major league player in the American sports landscape. This is the moment to negotiate a landmark new media rights deal that could fundamentally change the financial future of every player. This is the moment to expand the league, to bring in new owners and build new arenas. But if the defining narrative of the league becomes its own internal bitterness and dysfunction, that potential will evaporate. Sponsors and broadcast partners invest in growth and positive storylines, not in a product that seems to be at war with its own success. New fans who are welcomed with open arms become lifelong supporters. New fans who are derided as delusional and told they don't belong will simply take their money and their attention elsewhere. If this continues, in 5 years we might look back at the Caitlin Clark effect not as the beginning of a new era, but as a massive missed opportunity that the league squandered because it couldn't get out of its own way. There is a better path forward, but it requires a conscious, collective shift in mindset. The league, its veteran players, and the media need to start viewing Caitlin Clark not as a threat, but as a Trojan horse. She is the vessel that carries the entire sport into households that never cared about it before. The strategy should be to embrace it. When ESPN cuts to a fever practice, the WNBA should be feeding them stories about Ilya Boston, the reigning Rookie of the Year, and Clark's new running mate. When an article is written about Clark's passing ability, it's an opportunity to create a graphic comparing her assist numbers to legends like Sue Bird or a current star like Chelsea Gray. The message should be, "You came to see the Phenom? Awesome. Now let us show you the universe of superstars she plays in." It's about building bridges for the new fans, not building walls to keep them out. It's about shifting from a mindset of us versus them to a unified understanding that the league's collective success is inextricably tied to the success of its biggest star. Ultimately, this whole saga boils down to a simple choice between two futures. One future is fueled by growth, where the league embraces its newfound popularity, uses its megastar to elevate everyone, and builds a financially secure and globally recognized brand. The other future is one of gatekeeping, where a small insular community successfully drives away new interest in a misguided attempt to preserve a culture that was defined by its own obscurity. They will have their league back, but it will be a league with lower salaries, fewer resources, and a much lower ceiling. The war in the WNBA isn't against Caitlin Clark. It's a war between its own potential and its own past. The question is no longer whether the league can handle success, but whether it even wants it. What do you think is the single most important step the WNBA needs to take right now to stop this self-sabotage? Let me know down below.